It's going.
Make sure the sound's on, J-Mac.
I think it is. I
You
see.
don't know that last week, as soon as we started, it was
Well,
immediately.
last time I didn't even look. This time I see levels. So, good morning, Vietnam. Hey, Vietnam, why don't you get on ggLeap? That's right.
I got to pull up my
Talk back to
chat
me.
thing. Oh, J-Mac, what a crazy, crazy, crazy week. Crazy month, crazy year,
I,
crazy 2 or 3 years. I just as a quick playful banter, just to let everybody know, we have a couple big projects we're working on, and we can't say a lot about some of this stuff, and it's going to be great for everybody in the end. But I had to go back through my history in esports over the past 13 years. So I did a timeline of like 2004. I started eBash, and we started doing competitions and bringing in all these teams and doing these brackets. And so I then reached out to JMac and Dustin, and who's been around for a lot of these things, and said, okay, I'm going to buy you a beer for every single thing that you can think of that I don't have on our list already. And so I think you ended up with 4 beers, and Dustin ended up with 2 or 3 beers out of it, because you guys thought of some stuff that I'd forgotten about. And I'm sure there's things that I've forgotten about as well. But man, if we had just I mean, again, I'm not a millionaire. I'm, in fact, like, it is still a financial struggle for me personally where we're at, and we're constantly putting everything we've got back into this one business. I don't have a separate 401k that I'm sitting on. I don't have. Luckily, my parents, the grandparents of my children, have helped a little bit over the years, putting some money in funds for my kids for college. But I have no security. I have nothing beyond what we're putting into this business and this industry.
I,
But as I look through what we've done, I feel so good about our credentials. Like, I feel like we have amazing credentials.
I made rent this month.
No way.
That's what I'm happy about.
Congratulations.
The Yeah, I mean, there's got to be another word for it besides crazy, because crazy is just normal for us. It's a ludicrous thing that we've got going on here.
Yeah,
Ludicrous.
it's I mean, I'll just share this part. Like, one of the you don't even know this yet, but so opportunities just pop in all over the place now. So it is not every week. It is people that want to open a franchise, or want to open up a store, or they want consulting, or they have a tournament coming up, or they have a convention they want us to go to, or they'd like for us to bring our racing seats out. Like, that's just normal. That happens all the time now. Like, it's almost to the point where, like, we probably don't give enough attention to each of those leads, because some of them are probably really good. We just have our typical, hey, get a lot of inquiries about this, here's how to proceed. It's kind of a canned response. But one of the groups we're working with now, that I can't talk about yet because of an NDA, but just in getting to know them and knowing who they know in the industry and stuff, they sent me an email yesterday, and the email was, hey, I was out and having lunch with the president and general manager of the Indiana Fever, who is, the Indiana Fever is the WNBA team here in Indianapolis. And the gal, I mean, I'm sure we could Google it. I forget what the gal's name is. I think it's Kelly or something. She's been there for 17 years. And in the discussion, they just were out to dinner or to lunch about other things. It wasn't about it. And he just mentioned, like, one of the things he's working on is some esports stuff. And she's like, oh, esports, I really think that's cool. I've been doing this thing for 17 years. I feel like it's kind of locked down and works well and whatever. And I've just really thought about branching out and seeing what opportunities are out there and around esports. And, like, it's like things like that are just, so now we're going to have conversations about what we can do together with her, maybe. And, it's just right place, right time for us. Like, I feel like we've paid our penance. I feel like that we have gone through the trenches for 13 years and stuck to our guns with the way we feel like esports should run, and the way we feel like esports should be local first, that leads into regional, that leads into pros. Like, those things, all of a sudden, these big, huge organizations are coming back and they're like, oh gosh, yeah, that does make sense. What we should do things like that instead of just trying to take a bus out and a bunch of semi trailers and attract the same 4 pro teams to travel around to these events, once a month. So
We got next.
yep, that's right. That's right. All right. So let's go to our question of the week. This one came up the last week quite a bit with our franchises for eBash that we're talking to about franchising with ggCircuit centers. It's come up a few times over the last month or so, and so the generic question is local competition a bad thing? And, kind of going along with that with franchising and protected territories. So, the concept is that if I have a business, if I have a esports arena LAN center that's successful, it's going to draw attention and people are going to say, wow, that's a really cool idea. Are they going to open up one a block from you? Are they going to open up one a mile from you? Are they going to open up one in the city next to you? Because they've seen your success, are they going to copy it? It's not a novel idea. Tons of people come up with the idea of like, ooh, somebody should put together a place where everybody could play video games together all the time because I do that in my basement. And hey, guess what? 13 years ago, that's why I started eBash. Exact same reason. Mm-hmm. But that doesn't mean that they're going to figure everything out. Just recently in our private group, and I can share this, I don't think Michael would care, but Michael shared like one of his employees was being approached by somebody starting up a LAN center, and that person was reaching out to his employees saying, hey, if you don't like what you're doing, come work for me and help me get my center started and I'll pay you more. And, it blows my mind because that's never happened to us. And I don't know why that is. Maybe we're not successful enough to draw attention to people opening up a business like ours near us. But like in Indianapolis, it's 5 million people. We're the only LAN center in Indianapolis. Now, it could just be that the market's not mature, the business model's not finalized yet, like some people just don't see. And again, it's not as if our store has 1,000 people in it every week and we're just shoveling money to the bank. I mean, our Indianapolis location breaks even on a good month, loses a little money on a bad month, maybe makes a little money on a great month. So, it's not a model yet that somebody can come walking into our store and be like, oh my gosh, this place is awesome. It's packed. They're making tons of money. Mm-hmm. So, I think that those are things we're going to have to address with ggCircuit, especially with eBash franchising. It's a known, like when you buy a franchise, you have a territory. Like the reason you buy a Subway is that you know that you're going to control that market. And what you usually have to do is you have to buy it based on the population. So you go to a town and say, I want to buy a Subway franchise in Terre Haute, Indiana. And they look at the population and they say, that should support 5 Subway locations. So if you want to own the whole town, you have to build 5 stores in the next 2 years. So you just know going into that, you've got to commit to putting a down payment on all 5 of those stores. You get your first one going. When it's generating enough revenue, you open your second one. That's how franchising works. You're buying a franchise because you want the brand, you want the supply chain, you want the smarts of all the years that they've been in business and tell you exactly how to run it. Most of the franchises that I know, sometimes they'll start with like a husband and wife will invest and they'll help run the first one. And then they train up a manager and then they open a second one and they put a manager in there. But not very often are the owners actively involved in a successful franchise. Most successful franchises have it laid out where there's a plan for training your staff, training your managers, general managers, and all of those things where the owners don't have to. They may take on those roles for their first franchise store, but then after that, they just have a team of people that follow the rules, that follow the guidebook, that go to the school. Dairy Queen has DQ University. So if you open up a Dairy Queen franchise, you pay to send your managers up to, I think it's like Minnesota or somewhere, and then Dairy Queen for a week trains them how to be a manager. And then they come back and they run your Dairy Queen for you. That's just what you're paying for when you buy a franchise. Right. For ggCircuit, it's a little bit different because, again, we're not telling people how to run their business. We're giving them a piece of software. Is there the opportunity for it to someday be something that there's a certified level? Because my example would be we're working on a deal with a big publisher that would pay us to pay centers to have players play their games in beta and give them feedback. So if I go to Game Haven out in Connecticut and I say, Brent, I have this opportunity for you. I need to have one of these stores, and I can do 20 stores in the U.S., and I'm trying to pick different regions around the U.S. I'm going to give this to you for the East Coast. That would be something that I wouldn't be able to provide to everybody. That's a unique opportunity. And then I have to have a performance back. Like, I can't give that opportunity to Brent. And I tell him, hey, I'm going to pay you $10 a player that does this, up to 100 players, and Brent gets 8 guys to do it. Like, if you don't perform, if you don't meet some sort of minimum threshold, then we're going to move you into another, just a lower category, and you got to work your way back in later, and we'll pass on that certified, location to somebody else on the East Coast, like Evo Gaming or Game On or somebody else out there that could run it and give us 100 players in that program, because we're going to write you $1,000 check for those 100 players, which is valuable to you because you've got money coming in, but it's also valuable to us because we can then take back to that publisher. If we had 20 stores do this and all 20 had 100 people, then that is, 2,000 players participated in that event. Those are the things that I could see us getting to the point where we have to have protected territories, because 2 guys on a street corner aren't going to get that same deal. Like, we just know, like, we need to saturate an area. Now, if we go to Asia, there's 5 PC bangs within walking distance of each other. Mm-hmm. And they're all full all the time. We're not there anywhere close to that in the U.S. I don't think we're close to that in Europe. I don't think the Middle East is close to that. But
South America might be pseudo like that.
Maybe, but the problem with South America is they have a ton of small centers. Right. There's hardly any, like a big giant center in South America is like 40 or 50 stations, but there's a ton of them that have like 20, 15, 10, 5 seats. So, I at one point heard an estimate that there was like 10,000 LAN centers just in Peru, South America, which I think might be true. But of the 10,000, there might be 50 of them that would be equitable, even, similar to what we would consider a LAN center here in the U.S., where we could run an event and know that it's ran well and know that the players get a certain experience when they go in. So I don't know what this means in the future. We haven't made a decision on any of this stuff as far as protected territories or things. I can tell you, and again, there are some people that are supporting ggLeap at this stages that we've made some arrangements with to protect them and their areas from anybody running ggLeap in the foreseeable future and ggCircuit, because of their contribution levels are so high. And again, I do that because I want to do that same thing for eBash. Now, nobody's even come close to what eBash has contributed for this project. We're easily over $100,000 in cash. Who knows how much that we've put in time and effort from our side as well. Like, we've probably got $250,000 in the project from eBash, let's just say. Mm-hmm. That gives us some sort of right to protect our locations, protect our stores with the software. Not because I own both parts of both companies, but just because of that fact that I've supported the project from eBash, we've earned that level. So I want to have like a fixed fee. Every time I open up a new eBash store, you pay one fee, you get ggCircuit, ggLeap provided for life, no subscription fees. Like, that's why we've created these different tiers in the Pioneer program that we're coming out with this week. Just for that reason, we want to protect those stores. So ggLeap, ggCircuit will protect eBash locations because eBash has made it possible for ggLeap and ggCircuit to launch. So we're going to do the same things with these centers that come on board at higher levels of support right now. We're providing them, support levels that are higher than they would normally get at a pro or standard level. We'll put them in the enterprise group. Like, we're doing those things for those centers. Territories is the tough one. If you come to me and you're in New York City, and I don't know why I use that. I think Evo's in New York City, but so let's use Tim at Evo. Like, he's in New York City. He's got 20 stations. There's no way I can give him New York City as a territory and protect him in New York City with a center that has 20 stations. I just can't do it. It's not a good business decision for us because, again, in all of our sakes, like, at some point we want Coca-Cola or one of these big sponsors or partners to come on board and say, listen, here's $5 million for a program that runs the next year. Pick 50 locations around the U.S. and go run events at these locations sponsored by Coke and pay those people to run them. We have to be able to go to New York and have a center there that can support 50 or 100 people all at one time. And at that point, maybe we make it available to Tim and say, Tim, this is coming down the pipe. If it's not you, then eBash has got to build a store, or some other person's got to build a store, because this is coming down the pipe for next year. And this is going to be a $5,000 a month check for some center to be able to run, but they have to meet this criteria. So we would not go behind Tim's back and do this without his knowledge. We would make him aware of it first. But if he doesn't have the ability to do it, I can't have said, hey, you've been a great supporter for us all these years, but I got to do a deal with Coke for all of us nationwide, and we have to have a location in New York City, and it cannot be your location with just 20 stations. Mm-hmm. I hope that makes sense. But again, I don't want to pigeonhole us into some sort of exclusivity with a center that prohibits us from doing some giant deal down the road that 30, 40, 50, 100 locations could benefit from, but then we've got these weird territory things in place. So, if you've got questions about any of that stuff, feel free to ask. Most of you do. Most of you talk about it with us. It's not that big of a deal in most locations for us to protect you within your little cities. You can't say, well, this city that's 25 miles away from me, I think somebody might open up there. You know what? I mean, you need to go open your own store there, second store at that location. We know this from experience at eBash. There's a certain distance from your store where those are no longer your customers. They may drive to your store once a month for a tournament, but if somebody opens up a store there, they will go there 2 or 3 times a week into that store instead of just once a month driving to your store for some special event. So they're not really your customers long term until you can kind of reach them on a regular basis.
Yeah, I'd say it's very much the 80-20 rule too for all the people that we talk to. 80% of people that want to do this never open. So there's always potential that someone may open, but very low chance that they actually will.
And everybody has great stories about this. These guys opened, they were less than me. A year later, they're out of business. There's always going to be competition, because if you're doing well, you're attracting attention. Mm-hmm. So it's going to make people think, ooh, that's really cool. I've got the basement of my building, and I can put a center in the basement of my office building. I don't know why which is not a bad thing, because not your parents' basement lounge is actually a good idea. But typically you wouldn't normally think about putting a lounge in a bed. I'm just trying to think of somebody that would cut corners and just do it on the cheap, and in a year they're out of business. Those guys are not cutting corners. They're doing it right up there in Wisconsin. So I apologize, Ian. I didn't mean to make an example out of you. But I think he will chuckle when he hears this, because it is kind of an odd idea for a business, but I think it's going to do well for them. Anyway, all right, let's go on to our next point, which is a little bit depressing. So WAN Tournaments for North America. I mean, again, I have a lot of ideas for things. This one is not taking off at all. It is stagnant. eBash has gotten a few people signed up. I think one other center's got one person signed up for Hearthstone. We can't. And, somebody just posted, I don't know who it was, if you remember, somebody just posted, what's the deal? All these Call of Duty guys have been wanting a tournament, and then we put this up and nobody's signed up so far. So, we'll make a decision on this in the next week or so, because we're not gonna run an event if there's nobody playing. We'll just do something internal for eBash. If only eBash teams are signing up, we won't make it a Wandemonium thing. We'll just do another LAN event. But I believe that this is the answer for players. It's just one of those things where, are we not advertising it? Our center's not promoting it well internally. I see a lot of people put it on their social media. And again, I tell this to everybody. You and I just talked this a little bit about our camp program and things marketing your business can't be buying Facebook ads, can't be posting on your social media. You can't say 1,000 people saw this. That's not marketing. Social media has turned marketing into such a BS way of thinking that you're marketing your company. And again, I'm saying this as we don't do a good job of this either, but posting flyers up at the universities, getting stuff out to the high schools, finding the clubs that are out there, putting your feet on the pavement, doing the hard work of trying to reach out to these people. How many of you have gone into your ggLeap databases, or if you use other software, pulled out all the email addresses and sent out through MailChimp a couple emails about it? We haven't. J-Mac, like we haven't done that yet. How do our players know that there's a thing coming up? I don't know that, we don't have it posted in my Terre Haute stores. I look out there. I don't think we have it posted anywhere. I see a stupid ass circus ad on the front counter that I've thrown away 3 of them, and they keep coming back and putting them up because the circus is in town. and I've told the guys nobody from the outside is allowed to advertise to our customers, but for some reason our guys let somebody come in because they're all pansies and they have no ball sack. So they don't want to tell the person, we don't allow you to put free advertising on our counter to our customers. So yet my employees have a circus ad on the front counter right now, and there's no ggCircuit tournament ad for March events in my Tarot store. This is me. This is a shitty job that I'm doing, which makes me so mad. But, again, maybe we all don't care. Maybe this is not what we want to do. Maybe we don't want to work together. Maybe we don't want to make it successful. Again, I'll try anything to try to make it work. I feel like this is a good program. If it's not, if we just don't have successful centers that have a lot of players that will put their money where their mouth is, then let's just scratch it and we'll go back to the drawing board and we'll come up with another idea. Part of it for me is, and this is going to get a little bit deep, but part of it for me is that esports, again, tries to create something in a way that is not traditional. And it really is a barrier of entry for what a normal player would like to do. So a normal player, if you want to play basketball on your middle school team, you go try out. You don't go get 3 or 4 buddies. You don't go get 4 other buddies. Say, dudes, we got to try to get on the basketball team. We got to go try to compete. Like, let's get a team together. Like, you go as an individual. Like, you show up as one player to the event, and then you try out, and then you make the team. And then you play in matches against other people. Like, that's the way traditional sports works. But esports, what do? We try to make all these kids, because let's be honest, they're all kids. There's no 30-year-olds forming teams. It's 22-year-olds and younger. So they're all kids trying to make their own team, gather the money from everybody to pay the fee, figure out how to get to the event, practice for the event. Like, they're never going to be successful. So one of the big things we're working on is a system where that just gives individual players a chance to show up, pay a fee, go through like this trials and tribulation weekend of, thrown into different scenarios with other types of players. How do they react? Basically like tryouts. And at the end of that, then I think that could feed into getting selected for your high school team, getting selected for your university club, getting a scholarship for your university school that you want to attend and represent them in that game, getting a pro team to pay attention to you, like that minor league farm feeder system. There's nothing out there. And, again, pick any game that's pretty successful in esports. League of Legends, Overwatch is trying to start up all those. They're all trying to do that internally with their own little ranking system, and it still is not the right thing. Like, I can't just try to play online with a bunch of people I don't know with nobody overlooking it. And, like, your computer algorithms can't really tell whether those players are being toxic to me or being a good team player or whatever. Like, it is a struggle. Anybody that knows this, it's a struggle to move up the ranked ladders, and you have to play a lot. And a lot of good players don't have time to play a lot, or they can't find people to play with to give them a chance to succeed. So how many people are falling through the cracks because they're a decent player? They would love to pursue a career in esports, but they're just one person, and the system is broken for them. It really is broken. So we're looking to change that with some of the big things that we're going to be doing this summer and in years beyond with some pretty sizable partners. But for now, Wandemonium is, again, we're trying to do the same thing. You 5 form a team in Kansas City, Kansas, sign up, practice, show up for the event. Like, we're putting all that on them to be organized. And really there's probably 20 prospective Call of Duty players in Kansas City that would love to participate, but they just can't get organized.
Yeah.
Like, that would be instantly 5 teams that would participate, but it's almost like they need us to put that in place. Come play matches, let us rank you, let us use our scoring system, play all you want, and then that center maybe is the coach, and they start handpicking some people to represent their center, And it's not those individuals trying to do everything themselves. It becomes more of us mentoring, coaching, general managing those teams at our local center.
All right, let me tell a story that's
Tell it.
somewhat related. And I just don't know, we've always had good luck with our Call of Duty players showing up to events, whether they're showing up the day of or they
Right.
are planning it. But I think that you have a valid point there. And Justin from Novastar was the one that posted in the ggLeap about why can't
Yeah.
I get teams together? And I think it's because, and we get random people that come into the store, and they say, "Hey, what events do you guys do?" Well, we do Call of Duty, we do fighting games. Oh, I love fighting games, because they know it's one person. They don't have to go find their team. They don't have to organize a practice. They don't have to do anything. And I have a good work ethic, but I'm not, I have my lazy days too. But like, I have this wild hair this week that I wanted to learn how to speak Chinese, because we work with the eBlue guys, and I think it would be cool to be able to communicate.
I'd love to know what they're saying, because half
So,
the time
like,
I know they're talking about
So
me.
I've spent all week like going out and finding resources. I've found like online tutors for cheap, and like done a bunch of research on how to speak faster and all this kind of stuff. But I just don't know if players, all they want is yes, we're going to do a tournament. Great, I'll show up that day and see if there's other people that day that show up. Or, gosh, I'm the world's greatest Call of Duty player in my own room, and I'm happy to tell people that I'm so good at Call of Duty, but when it comes down to it, am I afraid to fail at a tournament where I could have a bunch of fun and I could meet a bunch of other people that could be on my team later down the road? It's just, we've never found that magic formula that gets everybody excited all the time to do team-based events, not just single people.
Yeah, and again, I think I come back to this all the time, but I think it's crucial for us to really refocus on, not refocus, but focus on, because we've never done this before, but just start at land center level. All of us should start really zeroing in on high schools being the focus, because then you have this fixed body of people. You're like, if you attend this high school, that's who you are. You're representing that high school, and having events that are high school teams. So it gives those players this boundary of acceptable teammates that they can pool from. So they don't have to randomly go select people. It literally is, if you attend West Vigo, Terre Haute South, Terre Haute North, Northview, these are all schools right around us. If you attend North Central or Warren Central or Fishers or Noblesville or whatever in Indianapolis, you attend that school, that's your pool of potential players. Go find 4 players from your school and represent your school in this competition. That, to me, if we put that in there, that changes the dynamics of how these players find each other, how they form teams, and I think it gives us the opportunity to fill these tournaments up with 5, 6, 7, 8 teams per store, because they can all come and represent their schools together, and it allows us to help them manage that. So maybe we hold a tryout, like West Vigo players interested in Call of Duty, show up here on this Saturday. It's free. Come in. We'll try you out. Like, we're going to sit you down. We're going to have you play matches. We'll split up the teams, like some sort of formula that really allows the center owner or manager, or maybe you just have a coach or a volunteer, whatever. It's a faculty member from the school, something that allows them to kind of filter their players and pick 5, pick 4, whatever the number is for their team to represent their school. Like, that gives those individual players a chance to just show up and try out. I don't have to be the guy worried about getting all my buddies to participate.
Right.
So anyway, just as a finality of the Wandemonium subject, we're going to go to probably through this weekend and have to make a decision on the first one, which is Call of Duty, because it's a week from Saturday. And again, eBash is the only store that's gotten any Call of Duty team signed up. So we'll just have to make a decision on it first of next week. And obviously, if first of next week we still don't have any interest in Call of Duty, the next week after that, what is the next one after that? Rocket League?
I think so, yeah.
or Hearthstone or whatever. Like, it's basically kind of, again, we'll reach out to the guys that have signed up, the centers that have signed up, and just say, what have you done? Is it that we're not doing enough promoting it? You're not doing enough promoting it. The players have something that they kind of hang up with the event. I don't expect them all to pre-sign up this far in advance because, like you said, a lot of them make last-minute decisions. But I can always tell with our Call of Duty events that we do on LAN, like we'll have like 7 or 8 teams prepaid. That usually means we're going to have like 15 to 20 teams. Like I just know, like if we have 1 or 2 teams prepaid, we may only have 8 to 10. Like there is a ratio of prepaid teams to final teams the day of the event. I don't know. I mean, I'm kind of at a loss for it because I feel like I'm excited about it. I think the format's really great. It allows everybody to play at one time. It takes away all the cost for the stores, but
your store's
obviously
not being overrun with players. You still have room for customers. Like I think the Rocket League thing too may be an internal thing to eBash because we have a whole meetup.com group that's planning to come, and so we could run that event just here at eBash, but it's really unfortunate that we can't find the right people to form a team and want to compete.
Right. But maybe that's our fault. Again, maybe we're trying to pigeonhole. We're trying to force these players to do something that they can't do on their own. And it's up to us to build this system where individuals can just come in, try out for a team, be represented on a team, maybe all the teams. Again, like I wouldn't come with random people to play if there's pre-made teams that have practiced together for 6 months. But if today we had tryouts and we formed 5 high school teams locally, and then those 5 high school teams practice for a month, and then we hold a tournament between those 5 high school teams, everybody's on the same level playing field. Like there's no, those guys didn't know each other. Maybe they knew each other at school, but they hadn't practiced together. Like we, as coaches, as school faculty members, somebody picked those 5 to represent them. They practice for a month, then they come and play in a tournament. Everybody's kind of even at that point. The problem also stems from like we need the players to pay. You don't have to pay to join your basketball team. Right. Like everybody knows you spend money on it, but so do players. Players buy the Xbox, they buy the game, they buy the headset, they buy the stuff. They buy the stuff to be able to play at home. If you join your school basketball team, like you don't have to pay to join. Like you just have to make the team. Like eventually you may have to buy shoes or some other little things along the way, and you have to pay for gas to get all these other events and practice all that. I mean, you have costs, but you don't have to help pay for the daggone schedule to be formed. Like you don't have to pay a tournament entry fee.
Right.
And we force them all to do that as well. So, all right, future big tournament ideas. We've talked about high school and college clubs a little bit. We have a new club version coming out for ggCircuit that we're pushing out to high schools, and we're pushing out to university clubs to try to get more people in the system. Again, this is something that we need to talk about. But, from a LAN center perspective, eventually do we let our customers have a light version at home that they can continue to participate from home? I don't know. I think I'm kind of leaning towards it a little more these days because we can still earmark a customer as a customer of eBash. The guy goes home and he plays at home. We just really fraction the number of coins he can earn from home. He doesn't get the 1 coin per minute because he's not in our store, so he doesn't get that bonus. The games he's playing, he can get skill points that allow him to play from home and still be ranked as far as how well he's playing. But the coins that he can spend in my store are like a fraction of it. But I still want him to earn coins. Like I'd love for somebody to go home and play the crap out of a game until they get enough coins where they can come in and have a little something from my store that gets them back in my store again. So again, we could track them. We can reach them with messages on the screen if they're using it at home. Don't forget, this Friday night's a lock-in, and we're going to feature this game, which I see you're playing because you're using my client at home, and I know you're playing Counter-Strike all the time. So that's something we're looking at doing. And we just talked about the other thing I had on my big tournament ideas is progressive events with invitationals for just single players. So, those are things we're working on for big tournament stuff and ideas down the road. Anything on that, J-Mac? We're just kind of flying through this a little bit, but
nope.
Anything I mean, there's some stuff we're doing, but we just can't add a lot of details on it yet. Hopefully it'll be public in the next 30 to 60 days. ggLeap updates. So the big news is that we're closing in on the final push. I posted in the groups, I think in ggLeap's group. I don't think I put that in the ggCircuit group, but we're in our final push. We're bringing on a couple new developers that are going to probably be subcontracted. We're not going to hire anybody, but we just need more bodies on deck that we can finish these last about 2 months worth of work. It'll be about 4 months if we don't bring some help in. So what we've done is we've said, hey, let's reopen up the Pioneer program for different levels. And just to run through those real quick, because a lot of people are like, what are those levels? What are the details? These are not something we're going to publish. This is something that you've got to ask. We've got to talk to you about. We don't want our competitors to know exactly what we're doing. So a lot of this stuff is going to be on a case-by-case basis, depending on where your store is, what your status of your store is, how many stores you have currently that you're operating, and things like we just have perks and ideas to put things out there to get you to contribute to help us get to our goal quickly. A lot of you are already, I mean, we have almost 100 now that are part of the Pioneer program and early access program. So there's a lot of people that are just doing this level, which is just contributing $100 a month. That is the bronze level. We've named it for the Pioneer program. So if you just contribute $100 a month, all of these contribution levels, all this money goes towards future subscription fees. So you get to start using the thing now, but you're not charged for it. Your $100 that you're paying now is not for access. It is for you to store up credit that will be applied to your subscriptions down the road. So $100 a month, you can just do that. You can keep doing that. That's just great. Silver level, if you get above 1,000 contributed before we launch, then what we'll do is not only does all that count towards your future subscriptions, but we'll also give you 20% off those subscriptions for life. Whatever level you decide to go at, you pick your 29, your 99, your enterprise, whatever you do, you'll get 20% off for life. And any other stores you open in the future will also get the same thing under your brand. So that's a big deal. That's, a big threshold to hit is that $1,000. So if you're not sure what you've done, if you've been doing 100 a month and maybe you've been doing it for 3 months and you're at $300, if you just do a $700 payment, you'll be at 1,000. You don't have to do the monthly anymore. You've hit that level. You can stop paying after you pay that $700. You've got $1,000 in credit from when we launch. And then you get 20% off for life. That's a pretty easy one for a lot of people to move into, especially if they've already been contributing 100 a month. So a lot of people will probably jump to that one. That's the silver level. The gold level is you got to pass $2,500 in contributions. And what that's going to do is there's a few other things that we'll talk about with you offline, but the big one is, again, all that is credit towards future subscriptions. You get 50% off subscription fees for life for you and your store and any other stores you open. Now, you can't resell that. You can't go out and say, dude, I can get you a deal on this. This is for you and your brand. We want you to be successful. We want you to be able to open up multiple stores down the road. So if you do that, and again, Ross did this morning in our chat. I don't know if you saw that, JMac, but if you get to the 1,000 level and you get 20% off the $99 a month level, so you're paying about $79 a month, you'll get about 14 months or 13 months of free subscriptions once we launch. At the $2,500 level, you actually get almost 3 years of subscriptions for free because you're going to get 50% off that fee, and you'll have $2,500 credit to work off of during that whole time. That, we would bill you $49 for the $99 product off your $2,500 credit for all those years. So again, these are huge opportunities for anybody that feels like you're going to be in business more than a year. If you're shaky and you're not sure, obviously we don't want you to put your business at risk by contributing more money to the program at this point. This is really for those that maybe are starting up, because they know if you're starting up, hopefully you've got enough money that you've got a 2-year plan, 3-year plan. If you've been in business for a year or two and you're kind of stable and you're just planning on doing some things, you're not planning on going anywhere, this is for you. If you're on the edge and you think you might be fading, please don't put yourself out of business by helping us. Unless, again, I'm not going to say no. Maybe you just really want to, maybe you contribute to us and you go out of business, and then in a couple years you reopen again once you get your feet back under you, and maybe we have some better programs to give you more revenue. We would gladly reopen that up for you down the road. So it will be for you to use forever. That'll be your value.
Yeah.
It'll be transferable. If you want to sell your business to somebody else, if we sell, that was a question somebody asked us. If we sell, we're working with a lot of big partners now. What happens if Alienware comes in and said, we want to buy ggCircuit, ggLeap? I want to make sure these agreements are transferable, or those people will have to buy all of you guys back out for what you contributed if they don't want to honor that agreement. So I'm going to make sure all that stuff's put into writing and you guys get a document that shows your benefits, what these licenses mean and what this term's for, what this credit's about, what the transferability of that license is going to be for you in the future. And then real quickly, I know you got a couple things to add, JMac. The platinum level, that's the $5,000 level or higher. eBash is well beyond it. And that's kind of where we kind of came up with this one, is that it'll include lifetime subscription at no cost. So at that point, you've given enough. We're not going to worry about giving you a discount and running your credit off. You've earned it. You've earned it for your store. If you've got a couple stores open at that time, we'll give it to those stores. If you've only got one store open and you do that level, we'll give you your next store for free as well. And then you can add any store in the future for $2,500 and they'll get unlimited licenses forever. So that's what the eBash plan is. And so we're just going to open that up for any other centers that get to that level. So, there's people out there that have given $3,000, $4,000. Like we're going to go back to them and say, listen, this is an easy thing for you to figure out. You just need to contribute the difference to 5,000, get you to that 5,000 level. Then you never have to worry about subscriptions. It's transferable to anybody else that you would sell your business to. It's transferable if we sell our business to somebody else. We're not doing the thing that happened to the rest of us where we bought a license and then some other company came in and said, oh, that license isn't good anymore. I'm going to charge you more money. Like, this will be transferable to a new owner of ggCircuit, ggLeap in the future. There's some other little tidbits that we throw in depending on the customer. If you've got questions about some of those other little benefits, there's just little things like, for the bigger ones, we're going to put them in the enterprise level so they get the top level support. They can open up, they get multiple store support and all those sort of things. So if you've got questions about getting at some of those levels and what all those little benefits are, just contact us. We'll go through those with you, either myself or Ross or JMac. What I miss?
I was just going to try to put some concrete numbers around from the 1,000 level to the 2,500 level. I was pulling this up in another window. That the $1,000 level gives you about 30 months of subscription, I think.
No, it doesn't.
Well, that's what I'm...
$79 a month? Oh, JMac, let me get my calculator out. 1,000 credit at $79 a month gives you 12.6 months. So about 13 months of free subscription.
Then I'm looking at the wrong part of the chat.
Okay. So if you get to $1,000, you've got $1,000 credit and you get 20% off your fees. So if we just use the $99 a month pro subscription, you'll take 20% off that, which will be $79 a month. But you've got $1,000 credit to run off that $79 a month. Mm-hmm. So that'll last you about 13 months. If you do the $2,500 level, you'll have $2,500 credit, but you get 50% off that $99 fee. So you'll only be paying $49 a month. That will last 51 months free. Yeah. Okay, so you get to $1,000, you'll never have to worry about paying a subscription for 13 months about. If you get to $2,500, you'll never have to worry about paying a subscription for 51 months. Now, again, granted, it's applicable to another store. So let's say 12 months down the road, you open up a new store. You've still got that credit. That new store comes in at 50% off, just like your original store. You'll just run off that credit quicker because then you're running two store subscriptions at once, but they're still only $49 a month for the $99 pro subscription.
Yeah. I like to compare it to if you utilize a competitor, there are no deals.
Right.
You're going to spend that in less than a year.
Right.
And that's the minimum amount that you would spend. So,
yep.
Good deals for good software.
Yep. And again, we're doing that because we need this last push to bring on a couple more contracted developers to finish up different little bits and pieces. And I went through this in the ggLeap page, but again, we could just do it real quickly on here. We are working on the point of sale. We're merging the ggCircuit, ggLeap user databases into one. So a person walks in your store, makes an account, then they go home and they log in through the website. They use the same account to log in. They connect their game accounts with the same account. There's not two different systems running, which is the way we built it originally before there was ggLeap. No need to have that anymore, but it's a big task for us to finish up. What else we got? We've got more games that we're adding in. We've started working on that a little bit. We've got some exciting stuff that should happen here in the next, I would say, 30 days. We should be able to start testing maybe some of those games. No secret, but we're working on World of Tanks. We're working on Overwatch. We've been working on Counter-Strike CSGO for a while, so it may get thrown in there at the same time. Just a lot of cool stuff going on that we want to get finished and out there. There's a lot of little things that'll happen along the way. Right away people are like, but I need the way to, how do I log out of the local interface with the escape key or some sort of key without having to have internet access? Obviously those things are going to be done. How do I put users into groups? How do I do reservation? All of those things are things that are part of that big pile of things we need to get done before we release. So anyway, that's it for my list of things that we're working on today. But I have one more topic I can close on, unless you've got something else, J-Mac, or.
No, I'm just I'm automatically thinking about as soon as I get off this, what do I have to get done? 'Cause I'm just sitting here making my to-do list for today. There's like 15 things, and I'm gonna get like 2 done between doing support and stuff. Woo!
Yeah,
I mean
the thing. That's right. So anyway, I don't know if this is a necessarily we're really trying to figure out what to do with our Indianapolis store. I talked to this a little bit before we went on the air with you, and just like some of the struggle that I've gone with the last 2 weeks and trying to get good staff to run the store. J-Mac's sitting in that store right now on camera. Like, I'm in the Terre Haute store, J-Mac's in the Indianapolis store. So right now what we're doing is we're only open Friday, Saturday, Sunday so we can run events. We've struggled with getting good staff in there. We've struggled with our relationship with the landlord that started out wanting to be like an investor in the business, but then like halfway through stopped and then just wanted to be the landlord. And so the store never got finished, and we have a weird relationship with them now. And, it's been heavy on me what to do with it. So one of the things, we mentioned this last week, we sold our camp program to a group that's going to kind of take it over and run with it, because it was one thing that we just wanted to get off our plate so we could focus more on, we could do a better job of fewer things instead of just doing an okay job on a lot of things. That store is just on my mind a lot lately. And I know a lot of people out there, maybe if you have multiple stores, you've got a store that's kind of one that you're thinking about, like, what do I do with it? But many of you may be thinking about that with your own store. I talked with, I won't even say his name, but I talked with a store owner that's one of our active members, really good, and they're just struggling. They're just like, it's a struggle. We're close to not paying the rent. Some months we don't. We have to pay it later. We're making deals with the landlord. And the struggle is real. It's real for all of us. There's nobody out there that's got this thing right down to a T, and they're just printing money every month. There's nobody yet doing that. And I still believe in the business, and I still believe in the future, but it doesn't make it any less easy to handle some of these tough times. And it's just one of those things that, and in a day that I go through here, there's 50 emails that pop in my inbox in a morning. And out of those 50 emails, 30 of them are fun and exciting, and 20 of them are sucky and, like draining. And trying to balance those things together, it is what it is. It is part of being a small business owner. I don't care what business you're in. I'm sure the guys that are doing well still have a lot of things they have to deal with that are just not fun, that are just, we don't know. None of us know. Like the day that somebody comes in and trips and falls and hurts themselves and then takes you to court, like, who knows when those things are going to happen? Who knows when something could come out of nowhere, and it's just something we have to struggle through. But in doing the last 13 years history for what we've got going on, I saw a lot of things. I listed things that were failures for us. I listed our previous franchise experience and us opening extra stores, and I'm not embarrassed of any of that stuff. It makes us who we are today.
Right.
And, that's, I guess, kind of the ending message I wanted to just send out to everybody, is that while every day I get up, some days I get up excited, some days I get up dreading what I have to do. I never have faltered from the overall vision of this is the future. We want to be involved in some way. The longer we stay open, the longer we're in this business, the more we leave ourselves open for success down the road. Like, we cannot succeed if we aren't here taking that shot. It's on my wall. You miss 100% of the shots you don't take. In basketball, I was never afraid to shoot. I probably shot a lot of times when I shouldn't have. But if you don't shoot the ball, you're never going to make it. You can't just stand around and dribble hoping for a good shot. Sometimes you just got to take it. So that's just a little bit of my heartfeltness of what's weighing me down a little bit. And I just wanted to share that because there may be people that maybe they're just starting to get open, or they're trying to raise the money to get open and they're discouraged. Like, if it's what you want to do, if you believe in it, stick with it. Every door that closes, every no that you get will make you a little bit better for the next time you present your business plan to the next person. And it will bring you back feedback that you can go back and say, okay, now I need to go work on this area and figure out a better relationship with a landlord and get a lease document with me before I go back to a bank and ask for the money. So just stick with it. If it's what you want to do and what you believe in, and again, you have to believe that you've got the skills and you've got the determination and you've got the work ethic to do it, because it is not something that just opening the doors will become easy for you down the road. Like, that struggle will remain there throughout the time you're in business.
Yep. And I for many that, see, we've done 30 of these episodes and we've talked about it over and over again. We are the least perfect people, in this business, but we've found ways to make it work, and we've had luck along the way. We've worked our asses off, and it's not an easy business to get into. You're going to have to work hard. You can't, like you said, you can't just open the door. So,
yep.
With the lows come the highs, and keep at it, keep hustling.
Yep, we're almost there, buddy.
All right.
All right, sounds good.
Okay, talk to you later.
Peace out.